Hi everyone, Julie the Whippy Chick here, and I'm so glad you joined me today to learn how to make these great dishcloths. This is a knitting project. It uses just a garter stitch, and we're also going to learn how to do yarn overs as well as knitting two stitches together. So I used just a little tiny sample for today's tutorial. Obviously this one is not quite big enough for a full-grown dishcloth, but it's good for tutorial purposes. Okay, so today I'm using Sugar and Cream. It's 100% cotton yarn. I'm using a pair of size 8 knitting needles. These knitting needles actually used to be my grandmother's, which is just so special to me. Look at that, they were only 95 cents for a set of 4. Oh. I'm also using a pair of scissors that just happen to match my yarn. How cute is that? And you're also going to need a darning needle to, oh dear, that didn't really install any confidence, did it? Okay, so we're going to start off with a slip stitch. Very simple to make a slip stitch. We've been doing this every single project, right? And we are going to cast on 3 stitches. So if you don't know how to do casting on and that sort of thing, I'm going to put a little card up here to show you a very beginner-friendly introduction to knitting. But at any rate, so there's 1 stitch cast on, and oh, getting lost in my tail here. Okay, and here's 1 more, so that gives us 3 on the needle. So we start off right away with increasing our stitches. So we're going to knit 1, and then we are going to knit 2, and now we're going to do a yarn over, and that's our first increase. We're going to yarn over and knit that 3rd stitch, and that's going to make it look like we have 4 stitches now on our needle, increasing us by 1. Okay, so let's see now. See 1, 2, 3, 4. Now one of those isn't actually a stitch yet, it's just a yarn over, but it looks like a stitch and we're going to treat it like one. So we're going to repeat that over and over again. That's the basic pattern. We're going to knit 1, knit 2, yarn over, and then knit our way across the row. Now yarn over is really just where you wrap your yarn halfway around your needle. There's no other way for me really to describe it. You just have to watch me do it. So now it looks like we have 5 on our needle. Okay, so let's do that again. We're going to knit 1, knit 2, here's the yarn over, knit 3, 4, and 5, and with that yarn over, now it looks like we have 6. Now this isn't going to look like much for the first, I don't know, 5 or 6 rows at least. It's going to look kind of just like a jumbled up mess, but you just have to trust me. The more you do it, eventually that pattern is going to start to emerge. Okay, so we're going to turn our work and we're just going to keep continuing in that same way. You're going to knit 2, there's 1, here's 2, yarn over, and knit your way across the rest of the row. Every time you yarn over, that's what's leaving those little holes. That makes such a cute little border. Yeah, see, it still looks a little messy, but I promise it will get better. I'm going to do this one more time with you, and then I'll meet you after about, I don't know, 20 rows or so. So here's number 2, here's the yarn over, and then we're going to just knit all the way across the row. Okay, so I'll meet you after you get your project as wide as you want. Okay? Okay, so now we're ready to decrease. I've actually already decreased a row. I meant to show it to you, but unfortunately I forgot to hit the record button. So the way we decrease is we just knit one, and now we have to knit these 2 stitches together. So I'm going to put my needle in behind the second stitch and also into the first stitch at the same time, and that's knitting them together. It's pretty self-explanatory, really. Then we yarn over, and we're going to knit these 2 stitches together as well. Now this is kind of fiddly the first few times you do it. It's just kind of awkward, but you do want to keep your stitches just a little bit loose so that you can get your needle in behind both of them. After that, you're just going to stitch all the way across in regular old knit stitch or garter stitch. And that's the entire repeat for decreases. Just like the increases, the pattern starts at the beginning of the row. So we're just going to keep making our way across this row. And the nice thing about corner to corner projects is the second half, you're gradually getting smaller and smaller and smaller as you get close to being done with the project. I like that. And remember, you just knit those yarn overs just the same as you would knit a regular stitch. Okay. So we're going to turn our work, and just like in the previous row, we're going to knit one, and then knit 2 together. See how you have to get your needle back behind there? I almost forgot to yarn over. And 2 stitches together again. And then knit your way across the row. We're going to do that over and over again, and I will meet you when you have about 5 stitches left on your needles. Okay, so here we are. We've got 5 stitches left on our hook. I'm sorry, on our needle. Oh, I keep going back to crochet. Anyway, so we're going to continue our pattern in the same exact way. We're going to knit 1, knit 2 together. If we can get our needle in there. Okay. Knit those 2 together. Yarn over and knit these last 2 together. And that's going to leave us with just 4 stitches on our needle. So we are coming really close to the end. Now, we are going to knit each of these sets of 2 together. So we're going to knit these 2 stitches together, and we're going to knit the last 2 stitches together, leaving us with just 2 stitches on our needle. Hooray! Now we're going to bind off. I'm going to knit this one, knit the next one, and we are going to pull the first stitch over the second stitch, like a leapfrog. Now we're just left with this one little loop. We're going to use our pretty matching scissors and we are going to snip that and just pull it through to tie off. After that, it's just a matter of sewing in the ends. So it is a little bit stretched out. I did use a little bit bigger needle maybe than I needed to, and it looks a little funny because it's just a little tiny washcloth and it's got this great big wide border, but it looks perfectly normal when you have it with a great big washcloth. So anyway, there it is. It's so cute. I hope you found that helpful and that it helps you get some good practice in.